This woman, I love her tenacity. I love the drive that she has for helping others. You all know this. You all know that in order to get what you want, you must have helped thousands, if not millions of people get what they want. Tara, we are so blessed to have you. I'm telling you right now, we've all been listening to just recently all your videos. You are absolutely amazing, and we can't thank you enough. Everybody, Pro9 Tara Wilson.
Hey guys, how you doing today? Some of you guys are across the world, right? Do we have some New Zealanders on the line? Yeah, raise your hand if you're from New Zealand. Where are you? Where are you, my New Zealand? Hey, well, I'm glad. What time is it there? Like in the morning, 8, 9?
2:30. 2:30 in the afternoon. But that's tomorrow.
You're later.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, you're later than Australia though, right? Because Australia is like, okay. I forget you're so far apart. Well, I'm honored that you guys are having me here. And I've got about a half an hour or so before I have to go get my daughter from soccer. So I just wanted to just jump in and just say, I love this industry.
Everybody mute themselves, please.
I got into this industry 13 years ago for one reason. And this is the reason. Well, actually, I should say for 2 reasons. So those were my kids at the time. They were almost 1 and 7. And I had a really great income. I was making over $150,000 a year, paying my 401k, no debt. My husband had over $100,000 a year. So we were making $250,000 a year. I was not a rags to riches story. And so, Liz asked me to talk about a little bit about sacrifice. And what I want to say is that when something's as important to you as this was for me, it doesn't even feel like sacrifice. Sacrifice is giving up something good for something extraordinary. Like, for example, how many people watch TV? Be honest, I watch TV now. Be honest. Do you watch TV? Okay.
At night.
At night, right? The average American watches about 35 hours of TV. With Netflix, I'd say it was probably closer to 40 a week. And so when I started my business, I was working full time and I had 2 small kids and my husband was working. And when I saw the vision of what was possible of being able to replace that income, which I did in 7 months while working full time with a 1-year-old and a 7-year-old and a working spouse with no income or no story, no idea what antioxidants and free radicals were. My first company was an antioxidant drink. That's where I met Carrie Dickey. I knew nothing about network marketing. I knew nothing about being an entrepreneur. I was an employee groomed person. That's my fancy degree from UC Berkeley in psychology. There was nothing in my past or my upbringing or my DNA that groomed me to be a professional networker. What I'm here for, we don't really talk about this in LifeVantage world. My teams in 13 years have done over $220 million. I've made over $6 million and have helped over 150 people reach a 6 or 7 figure income. And that didn't happen because I was at the right place or the right time. If I showed you how hard it was my first 7 months while juggling, because I wanted to do this to be with my kids more, and it was taking me away from my kids. And so imagine mentally, my why is to be home with my kids more, to be at my son's school at the time. My daughter was a 1-year-old. She went to a nanny every day with a couple other kids. My son was a first grader. And I wanted to be the parent that could volunteer in the reading section or the math section or the craft section every week. I wanted to be the room mom. I wanted to be able to pick him up at 2 o'clock and see if he had a good day or bad day. I wanted to be home with him when he was sick. I wanted to be at his, games and all of his practices. And so that wasn't possible for me. And then when I started network marketing, it got worse. Anybody still working? Anybody still have a job? Yeah. So I tell people this over and over again for over 13 years now is it's not going to be easy. It got so hard. I almost quit 1,000 times. My first 3 months, I lost money. Not only did I not make a lot, but I was investing back more than I made. Now, we don't really have this kind of company, although I just ordered $700 in Axio because my team is doing an Axio challenge. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to sell. Every bag is 10 Axio, right? And there's, 30 Axio. So if you sell a 10-day trial, that's 3 per bag. I'm committing to selling 50 people on buying 10 days of Axio from you. I'm committed to that, because how do I tell my team to do it when I'm not doing it, right? I want to tell you something that I invested my first 2 years in network marketing. Number one, I invested a lot of time. I turned off my television, and folks, I didn't turn it on for 6 years. I got an email one day and it said that I had all these seasons of The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Desperate Housewives, Grey's Anatomy, all these things. And I remember as I was deleting seasons, years of them off, oh, this is what went through my head. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that used to be important to me. Who's sleeping with who on Wisteria Lane? Or what disaster is going to strike Grey's Anatomy tonight, which is all fake, because oh my gosh, if anyone was to hospital, is it ever that exciting even your whole life, one day? So I gave that up because I knew that being with my family was more important. I had to do 2 things. I had to be with my family and I had to be with my job. And then I had to find time for my business. So 20 hours a week wasn't conducive to any of that watching TV. So that was the one sacrifice that I made, that I tell everybody, if you're not where you are and you still watch TV, that's why you're not where you are. And I hate to say that, because there's some great stuff on. There's great. I hardly even watch TV anymore. Like the one thing I did watch, I loved Grey's Anatomy. I'm not Grey's Anatomy. I loved Game of Thrones. I won't lie. But I binged watched it in like 3 weeks. I did. At nighttime, me and my husband binged, and I've earned the right to watch TV. I actually watch a lot of documentaries. I have this thing called FMTV, Food Matters TV. It's Gaia now, Gaia.com. I've been subscribing to them for about 8 or 9 years. And it's like $79 a year. Every single, like, what the health, and every documentary about food, health, energy, reprogramming, neuro reprogramming. I watch that kind of stuff when I'm on the treadmill. I haven't read a fiction book in probably 13 years. I've read every one of those books almost. There's probably about 3 up there I haven't. And I've got about 40 more in my room. I would never pick up an adventure or romance novel, even on vacation. Everything I do is intentional. So the 4-step process that I have for any goal, whether it's losing weight, being a successful network marketer, being happy in a relationship, whatever, there's a 4-step program. The first is you have to decide. Do you know there are people that have probably been on your team, Liz? You've had a team for 10 years that could be there for 8 years and still has never decided to be a Pro 5, or decided to be a Pro 6, or decided to be a Pro 3. It's not about wanting it or thinking if I'm in long enough, or what if I'm at the right place at the right time, or if I make one post, what if. That's not how success works. A decision must be made. I decided when I went to the meeting, when I saw this one lady at the front of the room making $5,000 a week, which at the time was about $250,000 a year. She had been in the company 10 months selling this magic juice. And I couldn't believe it. And I actually, when she said, excuse me, I hope I don't offend anybody, but when she said how much she made, and I go, you mean a month? There's 40 or 50 people in this room. I'm like the newbie. That's my first meeting. My sister brought me. She had seen her. She's like, you got to come see this girl. I'll never bug you again if you just come to this one meeting. I'm like, oh, and I'm not kidding. This is real. I'm like, but it's Thursday and I watch Grey's Anatomy on Thursday. She's like, record it. I'm like, okay. I was that asshole, excuse my language, that was sitting in the room. Well, if she's your upline, I know in 3 voice memos, I've heard F-bombs. So I know that an asshole is not going to offend you. I love you, Liz. And I was sitting there when she said how much she made. She goes, 5,000 a week. I said, oh, you mean 5,000 a month? And she goes, no, I mean 5,000 a week. And I said, bullshit. And she goes, come see me at the break. And I'm like, okay. I looked at my sister like, really, Lori, come on. What kind of scam are you getting me into? She did a presentation and I was actually wowed by the product. I'm like, if this product is really what it is, I'll take it, sure. And then I was wowed by the trends and the baby boomers going through a hose looking like a bowling ball, and that people want to invest in their money in health. And I was sold, just like you guys would be sold on LifeVantage's products. But when I saw what she did, when she started building it, she made a little bit and then a little bit. I made $40 my first entire 30 days in network marketing. Anybody beat me? Anybody? And then, so it was a product company. We bought these juice, antioxidant juice in a wine bottle. And so I was told by my upline, well, if you really want to be successful, you need to go buy 12 cases. And I'm like, that's $1,100. They're like, and do you want to be successful? I'm like, well, okay. And I wasn't poor. So I did it. And so you could do whatever is comfortable for you. Was it comfortable? No. I mean, it was after taxes, probably a fifth of my income. But I was told that that's what if I wanted what the lady had in the front of the room, I was told that that's what she did. So I did it. So my first 7 months, I started March of 07, and my my 1099 for 2007 was $58,000. I don't know what my taxes were because I just never talk about it. And then I quit my job in October, replaced my six-figure income in November. In 2008 was my first full year in network marketing, and I went to do our taxes. So we had to get all the receipts together. I almost died. Do you know how much I invested in those cases of juice? Now, I did sell some bottles. So they were 35 if you bought them like as a normal person. And then if you bought them in bulk, they were 20. So I had a lot of friends that didn't want to go on auto ship. So they would come to my house and I would sell them for cost because I figured it was a tax write-off. So I was probably making somewhere on the back end, but I was just doing it because I believed in the product. Anyone want to guess what I invested my first full year in network marketing in juice? Anyone want to throw out a guess? In the chat, I'm looking.
12,000.
Club, nope. Anybody else? $43,000. I bought an average of 4 12 cases and I gave them out and I sold them and I poured samples for people, but I made $314,000 my first year in network marketing. So you'll never convince me. I made a decision that I was going to be successful, and I invested in my time. I decided. And when you decide, the second step is you got to become that person. I can't ask the lady at the front of the room who's making $250,000 a year what she did and go home and think that I'm going to have results doing something else. Do you understand that? So if I tell you when you join my team, you've got to send the ABC video to 50 people right away. Don't think that you're not going to have, that you're going to have it a different way. You're not going to post on, like, I didn't even post my third company. I didn't make one post because I was still a leader in another company and I wanted to transition cleanly. And I didn't, so my second company it went out. My first 3 companies are gone, by the way. So there was a reason that I had to move on because they were declining, right? I went whoop and whoop, whoop and whoop, whoop and whoop. But my second company, I was the number 3 earner in the company. I had about half the company underneath me. And I was making $9,000 a month. And I needed that income because my husband had been laid off. So I couldn't make the transition cleanly. And a week before, I yelled at him for buying an $80 shirt. And then the next week, I invested $500 to get into my third company. And because I'm a person of integrity and I saw a vision and I won't get in a company unless I see the vision, I didn't recruit one person from my second company, not one. And within 8 months, I had a team doing 1 million a month. And within 2.5 years, I had a team doing 7.4 million a month. I'd have been like a pro 12, 2.5 years. I had 1,000 people a day at one point joining my team, 1,000 people a day, right? Consistent action. And eventually, I think a year later, one guy came to me, he's like, oh my God, you're having success. Will you sign me? I'm like, sure. But I didn't want to tear apart someone else's house to build my own. But you know what? The reason I'm telling you this, because for that 10 months, the first 10 months when I was launching, I was making $28,000 a month before I made my first post on Facebook. I did it all the old school way, calling people and doing conference calls. We didn't have Zoom still back then. Zoom was a couple of years later. When I first got into network marketing, I thank God that I joined in the dinosaur ages. We didn't have social media. If I wanted to like send someone a presentation, I would have had to bring a camcorder, videotaped it, took the camcorder to a Photoshop, had them put it on a DVD for me and give it out. Now you can literally take your phone, record it, upload it to YouTube while you're there and send it to your friend and go, oh my gosh, look what I just watched. And she can sign up before you leave the meeting. But why don't you do that? Because you haven't made the decision to do that. I tell my friend, because she's like, Tara, why am I not successful? She went to everything. She showed up on every call. She showed up to every meeting. She had the shirts. She had the hats. She was all in. And, not all. And she was just like, why haven't I done it? I said, Sue, the only way I can say this is watching you is, let's pretend jumping off the cliff is making the decision. Like, I'm going to jump off cliff. That means I'm all in with LifeVantage, right? I said, you're sitting on the cliff, dangling your feet, going to everybody, woo, you go, high five, woo, go. You're so amazing. Love you. Go, go, go. You're cheering everyone on, but you won't jump because it's uncomfortable to jump for some people. That's why they call it your comfort zone. It is comfortable. So if you decide you want to do something, it's not a wish, a hope, a want. It's a decision. I'm going to be a pro 7 or I'm going to die trying. That's a decision. So if I take a decision that I'm going to beat you in stand on one foot or a treadmill, two things are going to happen. Either I will stay on the treadmill till I die, or you will get off first, but I won't get off the treadmill first. Do you understand that? I'll either fall and pass out, or I will die, but you won't beat me. That's a decision. I wanted to be a mom and a businesswoman more than I wanted to be comfortable. And I got mocked and ridiculed and told by my boss and my aunts and uncles, don't get too excited about those things. They don't last. And my friends talked behind my back and, I was in one of those pyramid things. And I lived in a very affluent area, you guys. The average person I was friends with made $200,000 a month in their traditional business. I was like poor, even at $100,000 a month, right? So you have to decide, and then you have to become. You can't decide to be a pro 5 and not become someone who does what a pro 5 does. I just had a girl make pro 5 yesterday in my team. She's under a few elites. You know how many bonus pools she got this month? Because she'd made a decision at the beginning of the month that she was going to go pro 5. She personally did over $4,000 and 31 new enrollments, 6 bonus pools. I can't wait to see that girl. And by the way, she's been in the company for a couple of years. And by the way, she has twin 1-year-olds. What's your excuse? Right? I promise you, it's not a matter of network. When I got into my first company, my entire family was already in it, and all of my friends said no. My first friend that really did anything, I had a couple over the years come in because I was in weight loss and one of them needed to lose weight. And I had a couple do like mediocre, but 9.5 years in, a year after I joined LifeVantage, one of my very best friends, 27 years we've been friends, calls me and says, oh no, I messaged her because she, you know how you're doing a Facebook Live, it says, so-and-so's watching. I saw Angie Harper's watching. I'm thinking, this is a non-MLM friend. And I haven't talked to Angie in like a year. Like, that's weird. Okay. And it was a lunch and learn. It was one of my lunch and learns on YouTube. And I was like, Angie, what's up? Why you, thanks for jumping on my live. How are you, girl? And she's like, oh, I'm good. And she's like, no, I didn't, and she's like, I had no idea that you could see, because she had never been on a Facebook Live and she'd never done one. And she was like, well, now that you have me, I've been meaning to ask you about your yellow pill, because she's like 1.5 years younger than me. She's like, I have chronic back pain, and unless I take a pharmaceutical, I've tried everything from acupuncture to chiropractic to everything. Do you think it can help? And I said, I can't guarantee it, but I believe with all my heart it will help. She actually found the original text from 3 years ago and showed people. And she goes, okay, let's meet for lunch. And then she goes, okay, I'll be your customer. 3 weeks later, she called me. Long story short, it's her pain's gone. It's never come back. And I know you guys know that story because there's thousands and thousands of us like that. And so she became a distributor, hit Pro 5 in the first 8-9 months, just telling people who started telling people who started. She's the least network. I'm trying to get her to be a network marketer because she's a Pro 7 now. She's a Pro 7 now. So she sold her business 8 months in. She owned this traditional business. She sold it and went full time. And in, I think, 2 years, hit Pro 7. And you know what? Her team, none of them have ever done network marketing. It's people who just keep sharing their story with everybody, because like, at the end of the day, when something changes your life, or even it changes someone that you care about life, isn't that enough to make a decision to want to change more lives? So people ask me all the time, you make, between $75,000 and $95,000 a month. Tara, you could be sitting by your beautiful pool in your beautiful home in Scottsdale, Arizona, playing with your kids. Why are you here? Why do you do this? Why are you helping us? Why are you flying around the world still? Because I'm addicted to helping people. That's it. I will never get sick of hearing another story. Just last night, go to my wall, I posted one. This lady's C-reactive protein had the best transition her doctor's ever seen. It went from 500 to 1, like miraculous on the Trace Energizer, right? I mean, obviously Axio works because I just had one like 45 minutes ago, but you can be on the couch drooling. I'm sorry for you New Zealanders that don't. Oh, you can have it. You can get it in New Zealand because you can start up a customer. But like our products work, you guys. I'm speaking again on the Success Mastery on Saturday. I'm like, I've been on 3 times in the last 6 weeks. They're like, well, we love you. So we're going to be talking about ProBio. So decide, become. You know, Amber White is a Pro 5 because she became a Pro 5. She made the call. She did the follow-up. She sold, sent out her cart. She followed that. And I asked her, I was like, what are you doing? And it's so funny because when like a Pro 4 at the time, she'd only hit the pull like 3 times. I'm like, what are you doing? And my team's always like, it's so weird. You're a multimillionaire. What do you mean? Like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm just curious if you're doing anything. She says, I have list upon list upon list upon list. And every single time someone reacts or comments, I message them and their name goes on the list and I follow up with them until they pretty much, like block me or buy. I'm like, okay, right? So you got to become the person. It's not going to happen by accident. You can't be reactive. You got to be proactive. Reactive is I'll wear a shirt. Reactive is I'll be like, oh, I have no back pain, waiting for someone to say, why not? Reactive is posting on Facebook and hoping somebody like I said, I didn't post for 9 months. I built a team of over like 1.5 million a month without one post on Facebook. Like, believe me, it's a person to person. You got to make the calls. You gotta do and watch how to invite. Like you shouldn't be selling people. The tools should be selling people. Oh, we got so many good tools launching. Oh, I just got off the phone with Jesse Allen like 1 minute ago before this call. We have some great stuff coming for our team is working around the clock, shooting sizzle videos, overview. We're gonna have a brand new overview. Oh, guys, it's gonna be so good. Customer referral program.
Tara, can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
Do you believe that you really do need a team to build this? Like you can't really do it by yourself?
Oh yeah. By the way, this is dirt water. It's humic and fulvic acid. If you're wondering if it's coffee or wine, it's actually called dirt. Yeah, you need a team. Well, let me finish. I got about 10 more minutes. The third step is you got to sacrifice. Know the difference though. There's a difference between a mistake and a sacrifice. For those moms or wives or good friends, a sacrifice is, hey, kids, I can't be here with dinner, or hey, best friend, I can't go to dinner with you tonight. A sacrifice is being at dinner and being on your phone. Like my little kids, I have 11-year-old is my youngest now. And I'm freaking out that in 7 years from now, I'm going to be like without her. So every moment is important to me. So when my kids walk up to me, I'm like, I either will say, hey, I need 1 minute because I'm in an important conversation, or I will literally put my phone down because I want my kids to know that they're important to me. Sacrifices, I won't watch TV. Sacrifices, I won't go to happy hour tonight. Sacrifices, my husband gave up his basketball league, right? So sacrifice, there is a price to pay and it's the law of a trade-off. But again, while I was deleting those videos, you know what I thought? Wow. In the last 6 years, I didn't watch all of those seasons, but I created 6 millionaires and became a millionaire myself. That's the reality show I want to live in, right? The fourth one is self-discipline. Oh, they could write 1,000 books on this. And I'm going to give you guys some really good stuff for this. Self-discipline is doing the hard work. After you're tired from the hard work you've done, that's perseverance. That's Newt Gingrich, actually. Perseverance. It's what gets you from what you want, right? What is Jim Rohn, the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. I have actually kind of a headache and a stomach ache right now. I didn't feel like doing this. You're not even on my specific downline, but you're part of my company. And if you go do something great, a life gets changed. I never, ever got into this industry saying, I want to change people's life, ... only if it makes me money. If I help you and you go pay it forward, I may never know, but God does. And I know that every time you drop a pebble in the pond, there's a signal that's sent out. And if a life is changed because of me, all I can do is keep putting it out there. All I can do is keep giving. And that's something else, like, speaking of team, give to your team. I remember when I had my first distributor, I remember I would drive an hour and a half each way 3 times a week to help launch her. But she became my first diamond, which is the equivalent of about a pro, I would say probably almost pro 8 in our first year in network marketing. Was it worth it? You, me, girl. And she was my top leader in my second company. And ironically, after living so far apart, I moved to Arizona. Then she came out and visited me. And now she lives 2 miles away. She's a leader. She's the #1 leader in another company. She has been for years and we've always been friends. Our paths may or may not meet again, but the sacrifice was turning off my television, driving an hour and a half each way to go see her, and pouring into her. And team is so important because even if you're scared, there, you know, the safety in numbers. So when you're scared, no one's going to pick you apart if there's 5 of you and 1 of them. But if there's 5 of them and 1 of you, you are a sitting duck. Get friends, get on a Zoom. And there's hardly a Zoom that I do in my team that there's not at least 4 of us that are on the same, like, oh, here, and we're telling our stories. And that's social proof. They're like, oh, well, all of you, and they see our faces and they hear our stories and our personalities. And that's social proof. They start to think, well, maybe I can. And we make a huge deal. You can always go to my Facebook. I'm always shouting my team out. My Instagram stories go away, so unfortunately you can't see those. But like my first 30 bonus pools, I made a shareable for every one of them and put in my Instagram story. Now I have 128. So I'm that ship has sailed. I'm like, I'm not going to go make 128 shareables. I had no idea our team was going to be so successful with the pools. And our New Zealand team is killing it. So it's not about where you live. I want to tell you a couple more things. I have traveled to 14 countries and a lot of the states and a lot of cities. And everywhere I go, in every neighborhood, in every city, in every state, in every country that I have ever been, every province I've ever been in, everybody says this, oh, Tara, people are different here. They don't like network marketing. Everyone thinks that, but there is a top leader in every country, in every state in the world. There's a lot of them. So it's about you making the decision, you becoming the person that deserves to be the Pro 5, the Pro 6, the Pro 7, but you'll never get there alone. I tell people the reason I still do this all day, every day with my team, 3-way calls, Zooms, meetings, trainings, happy hour, or not happy hour, happy hour sometimes, power hour, videos, is because it's very lonely at the top. It's not about getting up the mountain. It's about getting up the mountain and then, learning it and then going back down the mountain and getting as many people up the mountain. So if you get to Pro 1, you now know how to get to Pro 1. Go recruit someone that wants to make a couple $100 a month and show them how you got to Pro 1. And then when you get someone else to Pro 1, you're a Pro 2. Now you know. So you got to get there yourself. You can't coach people something you've never done. I have a friend that's like, oh, I don't want to do the work. I just want to teach people how to do it. Like one of my leaders, and bless her heart, she does, $170,000 a month in sales, which is like 1/10 of my team. She's like, I want to be on the field advisory board. I'm like, I was on the field advisory board because I built 15% of the company, not because I wanted to be on it. You got to earn your way. You can't be on the field advisory board if you can't even get to Pro 8. Like, be the fastest Pro 9 in the company, like Rachel and I were, then you get on the field advisory board. So you gotta do the work. You gotta do the do. And here's, this is a great book. You guys want a great book? It's called Mach 2, How to Master Self-Motivation and Stay on Fire. And I want to just read you guys 2 minutes. Gosh, I forgot my daughter last time, and I reschedule calls when the hour she's at her practice, and she's so mad at me. So I cannot be late tonight. But they said, here's the 5 forces of self-motivation. Enthusiasm. Guys, I do what I do every day because I'm enthusiastic about these products. I truly and fully believe they are changing people's lives. Cannot wait for the new overview. Courage. You have to have courage, and courage isn't something you inherit. It is something that is learned. I broke out in hives my first 9 months in network marketing. I was so scared shitless to talk in front of 5 people. And now I've spoken in front of 10,000. Courage. Your brain will learn eventually, if you keep doing it over and over again, that you're not going to die, and that's what will take success. And then you expand your comfort zone. And then all of a sudden, you've got to keep going outside of it. I still got to go outside of my comfort zone all the time. Persistence. Just be a dog on a bone. Write a number on a paper tonight. How many lives do you want to change? You know what my number is? 1 million. I'm like thinking I should probably change it to like 100 million. My number is 1 million. When we started my team 5 years ago this month, we said we want to impact 1 million lives. That's why I do what I do at the rate I do it, because I got a lot of freaking work to do. I've only got 80,000. I've only done 8%. I got 92% to go. Physical energy, get healthy, eat healthy, work out, take Axio, take your products every day. I'm like Nurse Ratched. My family dies laughing. I take all the old caps from all the bottles and I have each one has one and I put their vitamins in it. And I'm not kidding. My 11-year-old gets hers. She gets a modified like Vitality Stack. My 14-year-old gets hers. There's my alarm to get my daughter. My husband gets them and I take them. My dogs take the Pet Tandem and they're just like, oh, here comes mom with the vitamins. I'm like, oh, here comes mom caring about you. And the fifth one is creativity. Get creative. You know, go buy a bag of Axio, split it into 3 and say, who wants to swap out their unhealthy energy drink for 10 days, sell it for $25, 20 if they're local, recover all your money, and now get people on our products. You should see the amount of Axio orders that we have on the team that just ran it. Now we're starting with another team. It would blow your mind. You get what you focus on. I have never seen so many people enroll people on Axio ever so much, unless it's like on sell or something. So I hope this helps, guys. You know what? Just go out there and do it. How many lives do you want to change? And if you think about that number every day and you become a giver instead of a taker, and you just know that every day your whole goal is to go change a life, it will change how you do things, because it won't be about you anymore. It won't be about you making a rank or you making commission and you feeling guilty about getting something from someone. It'll be about you giving the gift of health or the gift of wealth to someone else. And that is how you get to be a millionaire, by caring more about other people than you do yourself. So thank you guys. And I hate to jet.
Thank you so much, Tara. Thank you. Thank you. We totally appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye, babe.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.
Go get your kids.
Thank you so much,
Tara. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Girls, whoever wants to stay
Love
on,
her.
can you believe that? Was she amazing?
I love her. Yeah.
I mean, she just,
you had energy.
Guys.